Hello guys, I would like to explain the differences between cross-validation rule, filter value sets, and security rules. I have taken one of the existing chart of accounts in one of the test environment that has company, cost center, business line, account, intercompany, and spare. And these are the segment values or value set values which are configured under respective segments. Okay, first we'll try to understand cross-validation rule. Cross-validation rules are severe, are used to restrict the combination between the segments of a order chart of accounts. It could be between any of the segments, between company, cost center or business line. Okay, and related value sets. We use related value sets to define the dependencies between two segments in a chart of accounts to ensure that only valid combinations are used during transaction processing. And security rules are used to restrict specific values of the segments at a role level. Okay, now let me explain with an example for each of the concept. Cross-validation rules, as I mentioned before, cross-validation rules are used to restrict between the segments of a particular chart of accounts. Here, company 10, company 10 is not valid with 105 cost center, which means when user tries to create a transaction, company 10 and cost center 105, system should throw another message because it is not a valid combination. Okay, so if user tries to create a transaction with any of the cost center other than 105, system should allow, but 105 should be restricted. That is the requirement. So we can create one cross-validation rule so that system will throw an error message when user tries to create a transaction with company 10 and cost center 105. Okay, as you see. And user will see all the list of values for cost center, even though this is not valid. But the moment he creates the transaction, it would throw an error message as you see on the screen. And related value set. Related value sets are used to define the dependencies between two segments. As you see on the screen, company 10, company 10 is valid with only business line 101, 102. Okay. So my requirement is that when user tries to create a transaction with company 10, only 101 and 102 should be visible and all other values should not be visible. If that is my requirement, then I can create one related value set so that system would show up only these two. Okay, a related value set is an independent type value set whose values are related to another independent type value set. So with the related value sets, a chart of account segment value choice list automatically displays a list of related values based on what value was selected in the preceding segment. Here I have selected company 10. So when I select company 10, system would show up only 101 and 102, no other values. Okay, so this is how we can ensure that only valid values are visible in the LOV of the respective segment. Okay. This is how the related values works. And now, what is security rule? Security rules are used to restrict specific values of the segments at a role level. Remember, security rules works at role level. Okay, so we can specify which values should be restricted, and we can create one security rule, and that rule can be assigned to a role. So for example, for business line we have many values, but I want to restrict 501 and 502. 501 and 502. So I have created one security rule called SR1, and wherein I specified 501 and 502 to be restricted. So that security rule 1 is assigned to jail accountant. In GL, we have, for example, we have two roles. Okay, jail accountant and jail specialist. There are two roles. So I have created one role wherein it is restricted with 501, 502 business lines, and that rule is assigned to a role called GL accountant. And this role is assigned to user A. There are two users, A and B, and the GL accountant role is associated with A, okay, A user. Now, when user A logs into the application, okay, he can see all the values under business line except these two, okay, 50 and 502. Because we have created a rule and that is assigned to GL accountant role, and that role is associated with A user. So when A user logs into the application, these two are restricted. Okay. In the GL module, we have one more role called GL specialist, and that rule is assigned to B user. But SR1 security rule is not assigned to GL specialist role. So when B user logs into the application, he can see all the values. He can see all the values, including 501 and 502. As I mentioned before, security rules work at role level. Okay. I hope this helps. Thank you.